Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are on a mission to demystify one of the most misunderstood, yet constantly asked questions you'll ever face when you sit down and look at a salon menu: gel versus shellac. If you've ever just stared at those two options completely frozen, kind of wondering what the actual difference is, and, more importantly, which one is actually better for your nails, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the whole shebang: the science, the economics, and the aesthetics, so you literally never have to guess again. Let's get into it.
So, here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll kick things off by busting the big salon myth, then we'll dive right into the chemistry of pure versus hybrid products. After that, we'll calculate real-world wear and cost, face the removal reality check, look at finish, shine, and art, and finally wrap up by figuring out exactly which one is right for you. All right, part one, the big salon myth. Before we can honestly compare these two absolute powerhouses of the nail industry, we really have to tackle a massive foundational misconception. Is shellac just another brand of gel polish? Honestly, that is the exact question you've probably pondered while sitting there in the salon chair. And it's the reason why so many comparison articles out there are incredibly confusing. They essentially end up comparing a product to itself.
Well, spoiler alert, no. Shellac is not a generic category. It's actually a registered trademark of a company called CND, which stands for Creative Nail Design. They launched it back in 2010. And what they created wasn't just another gel. It's a highly specific, patented hybrid product. It seamlessly blends gel technology with traditional solvent-based polish. So the really crucial takeaway here is that when a salon menu lists shellac as just a generic service, but then uses a totally different brand's pure gel, they're technically mislabeling their services. Shellac is a specific formula, not just a shorthand word for any soak-off gel.
Moving right along to section 2. Chemistry, pure versus hybrid. Because these invisible chemical differences, they are the root of literally every practical difference we'll be talking about today. Let's contrast these two formulas, because it's actually pretty fascinating. True gel polish is 100% pure cured acrylate polymer. When your hand goes under that lamp, it cross-links into a single hardened polymer network. It creates a thick, rigid, really dense film. Basically, think of it as a thin layer of cured plastic that acts like a suit of armor for your nail. Now, shellac is different. Because it's a hybrid, part of it cures exactly like a gel, but the traditional polish part relies on solvent behavior. The result? A much thinner, highly flexible film that actually moves with your natural nail. Plus, CND deliberately engineered it to have these tiny, microscopic pathways in the polymer network. I want you to keep those microscopic pathways in mind, okay? They are going to be a total game changer when we get to the removal process. But here is exactly why everyone gets them so confused. While the chemistry is drastically different under a microscope, the actual chair experience looks utterly identical to us. Both of them apply with a base coat, color coats, and a top coat. Both cure in about 30 to 60 seconds under UV or LED lamp, and both leave you with absolutely zero drying time. The chemical difference is completely invisible when you're getting them applied. It only reveals itself in the weeks that follow. Okay, section 3, real-world wear and cost. Let's look at the daily impact here. How do those invisible chemical differences actually translate to your manicure's durability, and maybe more importantly, to your wallet? Let's look at the tail of the tape, starting with wear time. A quality gel polish reliably gives you 14 to 21 days of wear. Its denser, thicker coat simply shrugs off keyboard strikes and dishwashing way better. Shellac, on the other hand, is honestly rated for about 14 days before you start seeing visible tip wear. However, there is a super fascinating exception to this. Because shellac is so flexible, if you happen to have very thin, bendy natural nails, a rigid, pure gel might actually crack when your nail flexes beneath it. In those specific cases, shellac's thinner film flexes right along with your nail and can sometimes actually outlast gel in practice. Now, looking at the prices, gel is generally slightly more expensive upfront across both the US and the UK. But, as we all know, the upfront price isn't the whole story. To put that into perspective, let's look at the microeconomics: $2.60 per day. If you stretch a typical $55 gel manicure to its full 3-week, 21-day potential, it quietly becomes the cheaper option per day of wear. Compare that to a $45 shellac manicure worn for 14 days. Well, that breaks down to about $3.20 per day. So really, your personal calendar and how often you like hitting the salon actually dictate the true economics of your manicure.
Which brings us to section 4, the removal reality check. Protecting your nails is where shellac has its absolute strongest, most indisputable advantage.
The removal steps here couldn't be more different. Remember those microscopic pathways in shellac we talked about earlier? Well, this is exactly where they go to work. For shellac, Acetone penetrates those pathways pretty much instantly. You just put on the remover wraps, wait about 8 minutes, and it literally slides off. Notice what's missing there? There is absolutely zero buffing or filing of the color coat required first. Gel, because of its incredibly dense armor-like polymer, absolutely requires filing just to break the top coat seal. Then that's followed by a longer 10 to 15 minute soak, and finally some gentle pushing. Now, shellac isn't inherently safer than gel. A properly removed gel causes zero damage. But what shellac does is remove the filing step entirely, which completely takes away the biggest opportunity for human error, impatience, and accidental over-thinning of your natural nail plate. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate golden rule of all manicures. The genuinely damaging act for both products is identical: peeling or picking the coat off. It seriously does not matter which chemistry you have on your fingers. If you force the polish off, you are taking layers of your natural nail plate right off with it every single time. A peeled-off shellac manicure will absolutely damage your nails far worse than a properly, patiently soaked-off gel. All right, Section 5, Finish, Shine, and Art. Let's shift gears to your visual goals. Because let's face it, we get our nails done to look fantastic. Let's compare the visual capabilities of both. Visually, they serve two very, very different style goals. Gel is the heavy hitter for drama. It offers a deep, glass-like, almost wet look gloss. And because it's a thicker medium, it is absolutely perfect for encapsulated 3D art, those complex chrome designs, and there are literally thousands of shades available out there. It gives you that bold, structural, fresh from the salon look. Shellac, by contrast, gives you what we've all come to call the clean girl aesthetic. Because the film is so thin, it preserves the natural contours of your own nail. Honestly, it just looks like you have exceptionally perfect natural nails. The palette is carefully curated by C&D, and as it ages over those 2 weeks, that super thin coat manages to hide tip wear incredibly gracefully. So, Section 6, the ultimate question: which is right for you? It's time for the verdict. But I'm not going to force a single winner on you here, because the honest truth is, this is really a choose-your-own-adventure guide. Let's act as an impartial referee for a second. You should definitively choose shellac if you currently have thin, weak, or recovering nails. That 8-minute, totally no buff removal is simply the kindest exit in the industry. It's also absolutely perfect if you're like me, you get bored quickly and you want to change colors every 2 weeks anyway, or if you just love that understated, thin, natural vibe. On the flip side, you should absolutely choose pure gel if you want to stretch your appointments to that full 21 days. If you work hard with your hands, typing all day, gardening, lifting at the gym, you need that dense, rigid armor. Gel is also your only choice if you want intricate nail art, build a reinforcement for weak nails, or that super dramatic, glassy shine. The absolute smartest wearers out there, they actually rotate between both depending on exactly what their nails need that particular month. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But I want to leave you with one final thought. Considering your specific lifestyle, your current nail health, and your budget, which chemistry are you going to confidently request at your very next salon appointment? Now that you know the invisible science behind the menu, you are totally empowered to make the absolute perfect choice for your hands. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll see you on the next explainer.